In routine arthroscopic surgery news, Blake Griffin is having surgery today to clean out his right knee and is expected to miss 3 to 6 weeks of time for the 20-8 Clippers. The team says it's routine. However, he missed 47 games last year with an array of injuries. To me, guys, there's no such thing as minor knee surgery. But Stax, let's start with you. Should the Clippers consider trading Blake Griffin considering all these injury problems?
Well, I mean, we talked about it too. Like, there's really nothing, no one is going to want Blake right now coming off out 6 weeks.
I disagree with that. I think people want him.
Well, some people might want him, but it's not a team that's in the hunt that's going to want him. He's going to go to a team where he's not going to be happy. And that's going to be the situation. I think anytime you're out 6 weeks, it's more than a minor knee injury. 6 weeks is a long time for the NBA season. Losing rhythm, that's been Blake's thing the last couple of years. He gets hurt. He loses his rhythm. He comes back in and try to catch up with the team and gets hurt again. I think, they need to figure something out because it hasn't been working, and he's been injured almost every year.
He's got a bunch of them. You go back and look at his history. He's been, ever since he was a rookie, he missed his rookie season with a left knee injury. This is his right knee. He's going to be a free agent, and the investment level is going to be huge here. The Clippers have a big choice.
Yeah, I think the reason why no one will trade for him is because he's going to be a free agent, because no one's going to give up stuff knowing that he could leave at the end of the year.
Right.
But I still think he's a very good player, and this is a very good team. The saying that I've been saying all year long, it takes a wet spot and a well-timed kick to the groin, and you might be NBA champion. So when you're knocking on that door, I don't know if you can give up on it just because, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
How long are you going to knock on the door to somebody open, though?
I mean, you got to be there. You got to be by the door there. Like, if you take 10 steps away from the door, you're not closer to walking through it.
See, the Clippers could use a doorbell or something. They can knock it for a minute.
James, you know the Clippers pretty well.
I don't know. When I saw Blake Griffin as a rookie, when he came into the league, he had this, I thought was a ridiculous workout routine where he was carrying tires and putting a lot of stress on his body and knees. And I said then, I was like, I don't like that. And I don't know if that's the result of his workout, but when he was out last year, they played well without him. So the Clippers know that they can win without him. But right now, I don't think you're going to get anything right now. I know he's going to be a free agent. Now's the time to get something if you're going to get something. But I'd say keep it together right now. They're playing very well. I thought the year they should have won, the year they got injured, they had a chance to do it, but the chemistry seems to be pretty good right now. They're playing good. They got a good coach over there that might be able to pull it together. I don't think anybody's going to take those injuries. That's tough.
I think we'll be talking about this more in the coming weeks. The jump's not over yet. Coming up, I'll tell you what sort of mood the NBA is during the holidays. They don't trust the fans anymore. That's right. Yesterday, the league announced it was stripping the fans of half their power in determining all-star starters. It's not going to be decided by the Electoral College. No, I'm just kidding. Well, kind of. The players will get 25% of the vote. The media will get 25%. For decades, the starters have been made some questionable decisions by those fans. But hey, that's your right. And the game is about the fans. But it seems in the social media era, you can't have nice things. We might as well just call this what it is, the Zaza Pachulia rule. Last year, a push by some folks with large social media followings almost got Zaza in as a starter. And he did get more votes than Draymond Green and Tim Duncan. Wyclef Jean got some of the blame. Credit, because he tweeted out a song asking fans to vote for a guy who averages 7 points a game for his career. It was essentially a prank that called to mind those glorious pre-Twitter days when America used their landline phones to punk American Idol by voting for Sanjaya week after week.
What's American Idol?
But Drake used his social media followers to help Kyle Lowry get elected last year, beating out Kyrie Irving and John Wall at the last minute. And Justin Bieber has been exploiting the believer votes for years, leading to some backroom jockeying amongst players to get his support. So the NBA is calling a halt to this little thing and trying to take control back before something really embarrassing happens, like JaVale McGee getting voted in over Kawhi Leonard. I totally get it. There's contract bonuses and sometimes even Hall of Fame spots based on All-Star appearances. The NBA is trying to protect the integrity and involve players more. But I also feel like some of the innocence is dying here. Even if I think some of the recent All-Star games have been unwatchable, maybe Zaza would have actually played at least a little defense.
Oh, come on, man.
Not everyone likes this new idea, though. Kyrie Irving said yesterday he thinks the media portion of the vote should be thrown out. I can certainly attest that Kyrie is no fan of the media, even if we did vote him Rookie of the Year and to the All-NBA team.
You're welcome.
I guess those votes shouldn't go in the trash. So, James, what do you think about this new system?
The new system. Well, the old system was getting a little out of hand with the social.
That's what you call
media.
almost getting.
Yeah. You got people in China voting for the popular players. I'm cool with players and coaches choosing the players because they know best. If you're playing against someone, like I played against Bernard King, I know he was the truth. And players who know that players play defense or do whatever. But you got to give the fans. You got to give the fans what they want. The media is the media included, like Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and guys like that.
Sure, why not?
Well, then I'm okay with that.
So players, ex-players, fans, and maybe a couple of media guys.
Couple media guys, who understand, the game and maybe
it's softer than Kyrie.
played.
I'm a little different though.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go with the coaches and the league for the simple fact that the coaches coach these players. Their opinion is not going to be biased because they can send their whole team to the All-Star game.
Players can vote for themselves.
I don't think players should vote at all. I think it should be coaches and
coaches get to vote
league.
the reserves.
But the league actually takes stats. They really pay attention to the games. Coaches coach these guys. I think players, they got friends, they got certain guys they want to. I don't think they should vote.
But the league is looking globally. They're looking for popularity. You might get an injured player from China that might get all the votes from. But I agree with you. Coaches know. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about, like, since you say it's no defense? What if you said they picked an all defensive team for the All-Star game and let them play?
Come on, the last few years.
First of all, Mike Bresnan is going to be so heartbroken when he hears that you think he doesn't have any say in this. No, look, this is the best.
I didn't say any say, but he said a couple, and I agree with it.
But I think this is the best system. If everyone got a little bit, so that way it's all checks and balances, right? Mm-hmm. You don't get players voting for their buddies. You don't get teams voting for, definitely you don't want the teams because there are all-star bonuses that are tied into contracts. You might have some playing around there. You don't get fans doing I hate the social media vote. The fact that I can just put hashtag NBA vote and then do that a billion times over.
Think of all your followers. You're an influencer.
I am an influencer. I got Star Wars trending. But it's silly, right? But this way we got someone to look out. Even the media, we're all biased too. Everyone has their biases. This way at least, when someone gets voted an All-Star, we know everybody thought they were an All-Star.
Right. Everybody had their hand in it.
Everybody had their hand on it.
Yeah,
we won't shrug and scratch our head like, how do you get it?
I predict we're still going to see some strange stuff. Moving on to Boogie Cousins, who has now been fined for his incident with a local columnist. Oh. Here's a still picture of the incident of Boogie cussing out a Sacramento Bee reporter, Andy Ferrillo, for his column on Cousins' recent involvement in an alleged assault in New York City. In a statement obtained by ESPN's The Undefeated, the team said, quote, "The Kings have a clear set of standards of conduct expected in our entire organization. As a result of negative interactions with certain members of the media that were not corrected after verbal warnings, we have decided to impose a substantial fine. If this behavior is repeated again, we will be forced to consider further discipline." Does Boogie deserve a substantial, by the way, substantial is $50,000 according to the Sacramento Bee. 1/3 of a game check. He makes $150K a game. Is this in line?
I'm trying to figure out what would be unsubstantial at that point. Right? If that's substantial for him. You know what's funny, Brian? I wasn't as upset about this incident as I was the one that came prior to it. Look, as media people, we got the right to say and write what we are factually correct on, right? That's part of this business. You get critique. But the other part of that business is if I'm walking in that arena, those guys have the right to tell me what they think. And that's why I talk a lot of trash, but I go to games because we talked about this. If you got a problem with me, come tell me. Tell me to my face, right? That I don't have to like your reaction. You don't have to like what I wrote. But the incident before this, where he said, I'm not going to answer any questions until that guy over there is out of the room, that's different. Now you're manipulating the scenario. And I think that undermines this whole relationship where you're going to do your thing and I'm going to do my thing. Anytime you start setting rules, I think that's wrong.
James, what do you think about how this went down?
You have to submit to rules when you take a job, but you still have freedom of speech. Right. I got no problem. If someone says something, as long as you don't put your hands on me, I don't have a problem. Cousins has every right I agree. He can't put anybody out of the room. But if you go at someone, have you seen corporate boardrooms on a daily basis? I mean, they go at it. It's no different. This is a business. You can say what you want to about DeMarcus, but he has a right to say, look, I didn't like what you wrote. Whether he's right or wrong, he has that right.
No, he doesn't have the right because he got fined $50K.
Well, $50K, that's the consequence he had to pay.
Look,
He
you
didn't have
know,
the right.
sometimes it's worth it because you defended your family. I've had certain situations with media where we were on the same page because you come in the game and ask a guy a question, he's riled up from a tough loss. He gonna say some things that he might not mean, or just say the first thing that come to his mind. But when you're talking about family, I think it's different because you can talk about me all you want. You're here critiquing my game and my team, but my family, I think that's kind of off limits. But at the same time, that man has a job to do, and the respect has to be both ways.
I think 50,000 is a little steep too.
Substantial.
Yeah, I think unless I got to choose, go to my charity.
$17 million a year, by the way.
That's something that needs to be looked at.
Hey, listen, a couple weeks ago, Mark Cuban, I don't believe was fined anything for banning media from the building, which I think DeMarcus should bring up if we're.
That's a lot worse. You're right. That's a lot
If I were his
worse.
defense attorney.
It's a disappointing performance no matter what, but coming off a team meeting and all of the emphasis.
Team meeting, that stuff's, like I said before, that stuff means nothing. It's what you do on the court. Talking's easy. It was a disgusting performance, so by all of us, me included. I mean, it was unprofessional, embarrassing, humiliating, whatever you want to say. It was terrible. I guarantee you, on Wednesday night, we're not trotting that 5 out there again.
Oh, welcome back to the job.
That's old school. Right?
Yeah, I love it.
In for Rachel Nichols, joined by James Worthy, Mino Haas, and Steven Jackson. James, do you like Stan Van calling his players out like that? Because he sure called them out.
He called him out, man. I mean, I'm used to that from my era. I mean, if you didn't play well, if you stuck up the gym, you get called out. You get a lot of video. That's the way it goes. And then on the flip side of that, it's a reflection of the coach. He's the one that's got to get it out of him. And if he's not getting it out of him, then I feel his frustration. So it works both ways. He's got to holler at the players, and the players are like, well, what you gonna do? So it's a tough situation to be in. He's the president and the coach.
Yeah. Team meeting and lose by 40 or 35. It's must have been some meeting.
And like he said, they overrated. Team meeting's overrated. You got to go out there and play. I closed my eyes for a minute. That kind of sounded like Chuck Daly. Hey, for real. But, hey, that was good, though, man. You got to have coaches like that coaches that care. But it is his job to get those guys to play better. But some type of way, man, those guys got to figure it out because the East is wide open. They can find a good spot in the playoffs, but right now they look terrible.
I mean, the Pistons are in a bad way right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is an underachieving team. Them and Washington are probably the 2 most underachieving teams in the league this year.
Right.
But as far as Stan goes, he's not only a client, he's the player president. So it's like that's the confidence of a coach that y'all ain't gonna get me fired because I'm the one that does the firing, right? At the same time, if he actually had a GM, his GM would be like, well, it is your job, like you guys said, to get these guys motivated. To lose by 40, even though it's on the road, but to lose by 40, the Chicago Bulls were not that great of a team themselves. They've been having a rough December as well. Like, that's unacceptable. But the thing I always say about Detroit is, who's their vet? Who's the vet in the room telling them this ain't the way we're going to do things? We're going to do things this way, not that. Who's the vet calling the
John
team
Lewis.
meeting?
And that's the problem. And a lot of times you're right. That's the problem because a lot of times the coach is giving you a perfect, plan, but sometimes it takes a veteran to pull the guys together and say, look, it's we got to do our part as well. So, but I see his frustration. It's going to fall back on him eventually. But
I would like to see Steven Jackson coming out after his team lost by 35.
I can't wait to get a coach's job because I'm gonna be like that times 10. But I'm gonna have that talk from day one. It ain't gonna be no.
The question too is, with all due respect, I mean, there was a time when you wanted that. Guys who went to school 3 years, 4 years, you wanted that Bobby Knight or that whatever. Are the players are receptive to that kind of coaching? And because I see
bonus
players,
babies.
You know what I mean?
We'll find out.
Bonus babies.
I gave up pacifiers a couple weeks ago.
Yesterday, President Brian Colangelo held a press conference to address Nerlens Noel's harsh comments after the Sixers' Friday loss. He's complaining about his lack of playing time. Let's catch you up. He said, I just want to play basketball. I'm not an 8-minute player, so I don't know what that's about. I'm too good to be playing 8 minutes. Like, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. Was it crazy? That's crazy. Wait for it. They need to figure this blank out. And Brian Colangelo responded yesterday, I can't say that was the best course of action by him. In fact, I would say it was ill-advised. How proper. He needs to show he's healthy and that he's a professional and that he's got a good attitude so for everything that's going on. In other words, act nice if you want to get traded. Jax, what do you think about this?
I love Brian Colangelo drafted me. I love Brian Colangelo as a running an organization. Him and his dad has been great for years. The thing about it is, you can have a lot of people in management that they first applied to come in and bash the young fella. He really hasn't proved anything in the game. But the fact that he wants to play, I think Brian understands that. And the way he responded in the media was saying, look, young fella, if you want to play, I understand, I respect that. But just be a professional, play well, and we can get you out here if that's what you want.
It's not his fault that
I
got
love
too
the
many
way he
centers.
responded.
It's not no one's
They're
fault.
both right? He's
Shout out
too good
Brian.
to play 8 minutes, and Brian's right in that you can't do this. Brian's saying read between the lines. I'm trying to help you, help
Exactly.
you,
Right.
get you out of here. But this is a mess that it started with Sam Hinkie, saying, I'm just going to collect these guys, it doesn't matter, and the best one will rise out. But I think what ends up happening is we get a lesser version of all three of those guys.
Right,
Because
sure.
it's not a team built to display their strengths and hide their weaknesses.
Nobody wants to play looking over their shoulder.
Exactly. But at the same time, Sam Hinkie's gone. And it's Brian Colangelo's problem now. So
He's a problem.
that's why Brian is saying, hey, man, just chill out. We're going to get you out of here.
One of the toughest things for younger players to learn when you're thrust into the corporate world is how to control your temper. You know, I remember one time I went off in the paper because the Lakers were going to trade me, and I was like, I don't know who's management. You know, who is management? Is Magic making the decision? And so I remember Dr. Buss pulling me in. He says, look, I don't mind you being upset, but when you talk about management, you're talking about me. You know what I mean?
And you didn't get traded.
I didn't get traded.
So props to you.
But yeah, there's a way you have to, you know,
Where were they wanting to send
communicate.
you? Where did you think they were sending you?
Dallas for Mark Aguirre and yeah, it was trade back in the day. But Jerry West
That
squashed
would have
that.
been interesting.
But you gotta,
Jerry West said, hell no.
but you gotta find a way to communicate, and that's just young and
And
inexperienced.
Brian doing a great job, though, with his response. I think that was great.
Yeah.
So I'm here today, and Rachel isn't, because she's honoring the memory of Craig Sager at his memorial service in Atlanta today. And we wanted to show this to you. This is part of his close friend Ernie Johnson's remarks. And I really urge you to find this whole speech online later.
A studio host and a roving reporter, he covered the country from border to border. Years at TBS followed, and then TNT, where his wardrobe some nights was must not see TV. A paisley tie featuring diamonds was keen. A kangaroo blazer that jumped off the screen. A hand-woven belt from the bark of a willow. And shoes fashioned from a deceased armadillo. There's no way to gauge the days we have, no way to know how long. But know this, Craig will do our best to live 'em Sager strong.